Test, test, 1, 2, 3. Test, test, 1, 2, 3. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with Learn, Plan, Profit. Hope that you guys are all having a good start to the morning. I'm sorry, not a good start to the morning. That was just a copy and paste. So I hope that you guys are all having a good night. Happy Sunday. Welcome to our Sunday Stock Talk. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is what is going on this week that could potentially send the market to new highs, right? So as of last week, one thing that really benefited the overall market was the idea that banks were actually doing better than what was expected. Although market went up and then it went down and then went back up again. One of the things that's going to be happening this week on Tuesday, April 18th, is I'm going to start sharing my screen so you can see exactly what it is that I'm looking at. But it is Bank of America. So after JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Citibank all reported earnings last week on Friday, we have Bank of America, which again has a very large market cap at $236 billion. We're going to get an inside look since Silicon Valley Bank filed for bankruptcy, right, and began kind of its got taken over by the FDIC. One of the things that we're going to be looking for is to see if Bank of America, like JP Morgan, benefited from depositors leaving regional banks and going to much larger banks like Bank of America. So very excited to follow up, but again, just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of when this report actually happens. And this is going to be on April 18th, and it's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, before the market opens. And if you ever want to look into what companies are reporting earnings on the Webull trading application on the desktop, you just go under Markets tab, and then you go under Earnings. You select the date that you want to look into. So that's going to be Tuesday. And then we can find Bank of America right on over there and the list of other companies that are also reporting earnings. For those that don't use for those that don't use Webull, you don't have to. It's the application that I personally use. It's free and available to everyone in the US. And that is going to be the 5th link in the description down below. Right now, they do have a free sign-up bonus that if you deposit at least $5, you'll earn up to 12 free shares just by signing up. So let's go ahead and get right to it. If you guys want me to break down your top stock, just feel free to share it in the live chat, and I'd be more than happy to break it down for you. So all right, let's go ahead and see what you guys would like me to break down. Again, if it's not too much to ask, make sure you guys drop a thumbs up. And for those that haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So we are starting off. I want to quickly talk about where the market is at right now. So let's go ahead and start off with NASDAQ, right? If we look at overall NASDAQ futures as of right now, we're pretty much break even. And that's kind of the unfortunate part. You guys can let me know down in the comment section if you were kind of annoyed of last week, right? With the CPI data report, if you take a closer look from where we started the week to where we ended, it was a pretty flat week, right? We continued to trade at that same resistance range right around 320, and we continued to trade around that same support range of 312 or 313. And that's kind of the bothersome part, which is why I titled the video what I did, right? Market is about to potentially make new highs. If you guys haven't noticed, we haven't been able to trade above 320 in quite some time, right? Since really, what is that? Was that late last year, right? The last time that we were at 320 a share, it was the middle of last year, right? August 15th, 2022. That was the last time that we were trading at 320 a share, and we got rejected there, right? Now we're above the moving average. Now we're above the EMA line, and we are showing signs of consolidation at this potential resistance level, which is why I wanted to talk about this and how if Bank of America shows that it's actually doing better than expected, it could lead, right? But it could lead to the market making new highs. But it was just so bothersome that after the CPI data report, we went from 6% to 5. And then all of a sudden, right, the market recovers the next day. And then we sell off one day, and then we recover the next day. So all we're really showing signs of right now is the same support range, the same resistance range. So again, until direction is a little bit more clear, I would just be very, very careful with your position size. I think that's the best way for me to put it, right? It would really suck for you to try to buy heavy right here, and then if we do get rejected and it sells all the way back off, right, down to the moving average, imagine being someone that bought at one of the highest levels and then it sells off, and then you're kind of just kicking yourself in the foot, right? All right, so setting an alert here, but obviously if the market begins to sell off, I will not hesitate to short the market on the way down. So very excited to follow up, and just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of where the NASDAQ currently sits as of right now. So let's go ahead and start breaking down your guys' top stocks. So just make sure that you share it in the live chat. I saw a handful of people asking for Tesla to be broken down, and Tesla on the technical side, right, it looks like we're also testing our support range here. It looks a little bit different based off of how NASDAQ looks. You can see that it looks a little bit more on the oversold side. We're showing signs of a potential support, but we continue to get rejected by the EMA and by the moving average. Although there is signs, it has had a pattern of selling off here right around the lows of 175 and then hitting highs of around 210 to 220, right? The last time that we ended up getting rejected. But as of right now, there's no confirmation above EMA, no confirmation above moving average. So it's a little bit too early to tell. And I think a lot of it will have to determine what the overall markets end up doing. If markets actually end up making new highs, that can further push Tesla into the green. If markets end up getting rejected and begin selling off, then again, can push Tesla back below its 180 support range that it currently has right now. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we got ticker symbol SCHW. So SCHW, which is Charles Schwab. To my understanding, Charles Schwab was not doing very well. And looking at this on the day chart, I mean, I think it speaks for itself. It's very oversold. If you're someone that is someone into buying, buying the dip and hoping for the best, that's up to you. But like we've said so many times before, the cheap can always get cheaper. And especially if things look worse for these institutions than what is originally expected, then there is no question that Charles Schwab can lose more of its value based off of its previous price point, right? From coming from lows of $26 a share. I mean, imagine taking that hit. $80 all the way down to $50. I mean, that's literally nearly losing 50% of whatever position it is that you had invested, right? I mean, if you're into those high risk, high reward type of plays, then so be it. If you think that all banking institutions are going to recover, then yeah, this could be a very lucrative opportunity. But if you believe that things can get worse before they get better, if you think that we could potentially enter a recession, which can make things more uncomfortable or potentially put Charles Schwab into some hot water, then again, maybe waiting for confirmation here isn't a bad idea, right? I encourage my LPP team to ask themselves a very simple question, to not overcomplicate it. And it's the simple question of, are you missing out by not being invested? And it's very safe to say and very easy to say that you are probably saving money by not being invested into something like Charles Schwab, right? So you can set an alert if this thing begins to actually indicate signs of a recovery. That would be a different story, right? But as of right now, lower highs and lower lows. So we can go ahead and set our alert here, and if it actually begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, then we can definitely follow up. So WAL. So I did see that Walmart is also reporting earnings, if I'm not mistaken. That would be WMT. So this is Western Alliance, another huge dip. This one looks like it actually has really low volume. So just because of how low that volume is, it would not be something that I would consider trading myself. But it does look like it's consolidating at its previous support range. And because of that, I can see why you're paying attention to it. But again, with so much opportunity in so many different areas, I just don't see why I would be so eager to jump into something that in the past, month, it's lost, what is that, from 75 all the way down to 32. It's lost about 50% of its valuation in just 1 month. And to me, that's just too risky, right? You guys know that I don't necessarily like to trade stocks that are this risky, especially the ones that have lower volume like this. So Walmart sucks, bro. I got kicked out of there. WMT, let's go ahead and break that one down. Walmart actually, as as a stock itself, it performs actually very well, even during this economic downturn, right? We can see the overall lows, we can see the overall highs. Right now, we're very overbought based off of recent patterns. But in comparison to a lot of the other stocks and how they're currently trading, Walmart has held its ground even during this downturn. Something like TGT, right, has not been performing very well, which is Target. Target excelled during the pandemic. And shortly after, right, we hit highs of 260. We're consolidating around its support of 140 to overall highs of 175, but we're not really breaking above this specific range, right? And that's kind of the question to ask yourself. Are you trying to go in for these short-term swing trades of buying the lows, selling the highs, buying the lows, selling the highs, buying the lows, selling the highs? If so, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Just understand oversold levels and understand overbought levels. But if you're looking for those larger plays, then again, you have to make sure that we are breaking above those specific resistance levels, which would be actually breaking above, something like 185. And as of right now, we just have no confirmation of that. So it'd be a pretty hopeful position and or a very long-term position if you have that overall intention. So let's see what else. What else are we going to break down? So I see a handful. All right, so I think that would be pretty interesting to break down. So AMD has been performing very, very well based off of recent patterns. Looking at this on the 4-hour time frame, do you guys see this beautiful ascending uptrend pattern? So AMD, just like NVIDIA, so NVDA, they offer very similar patterns as they're very similar companies. NVIDIA is the one that has the better performing play, but AMD, just to break it down for you, right, it's never going to be perfect. And it will never be perfect, right? But this is kind of like a textbook setup of lows, highs, right? Lows, it's an ascending uptrend pattern. And then we make new highs, right? From previous highs, we pull on back. We don't go as low as we did before. These are higher lows, right? This is a textbook setup. We go and retest. We break above previous highs. We take off. We make new highs. We pull on back. And our new support range is where our old resistance range is at, right? Same consolidation here of support was old resistance. Same consolidation here of support was old resistance. This is as textbook as it gets for a reversal, right? If you're part of our LPP team, you should know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Right now, we're in that consolidation phase of the 3 stages of a reversal. We're not necessarily making lower lows, but we're also not making higher highs, right? So if you're really looking into something that's been indicating signs of an uptrend, then maybe keeping your trading simple and just going with the flow as long as this doesn't break below the moving average. That'd be something to follow up with. So what's going on? Wonderson Bucker, what's up? So Boyle, any thoughts on natural gas? So let's go ahead and break it down. Let's go ahead and break it down here. So we got Boyle based off of recent patterns. That within itself doesn't actually look very attractive. And again, I used to trade natural gas itself all the time. But then when the specific pair of ETFs that I used to trade got removed, then I just stopped trading it. But overall, as of right now, Boyle making lower highs and lower lows, a continuous descending pattern, and there's no indication of this thing actually breaking above the moving average. So let me ask you this, right? I know that Boyle has an inverse ETF, and I think it's cold, right? KOLD. And this one should be the opposite, yeah. So my only question to ask you is, are you hoping that it begins to break above, or is it actually showing signs of a reversal, right? I can see that it's testing the moving average, so I see that on the 1-hour time frame. But I'm asking you a very simple question, right? Is this actually indicating signs of a reversal where you are missing out by not being invested? I don't think so, right? As of right now, it's been lower highs and lower lows for the past month. So why overcomplicate your trading? There's so much upside margin and so much upside potential that you don't need to rush into a play like this, right? Set your alert, stay safe. And I just know that I've put myself in really tough positions before by trying to buy in too early, hoping that something happens when all I could have done is just waited for confirmation, right? So my goal is, even if I just save you a couple of bucks or save you from entering a bad trade, then so be it, right? There's nothing wrong with being effective and staying patient by setting proper alerts and then entering when it actually makes sense. So let me know what you think about that. Let's go ahead and break down 3 more stocks, and then we can wrap it up, okay? All right, so we got HSY. What's going on, Austin? Hope that you're having a good day. So HSY, here we go. We got Hershey's showing signs of an overall uptrend. Let's check out that. Wow. Oh my goodness. I mean, this thing does have pretty low trading volume, but based off of its recent pattern, holy smokes, why have we not talked about Hershey's before? An 81% return in 2 years. It looks very overbought, right? Very overbought. And then when it pulls on back, it gets pretty close to the moving average. Comes overbought, pulls on back, becomes overbought, pulls on back, becomes overbought, pulls on back, right? You can see that with the RSI. You can see that with the MACD. We were screaming of, being overbought at 261. Now it's beginning to retrace, right? Let's get a little bit closer to this. Here it goes. So it looks like we're testing that EMA. I mean, obviously, yes, this thing could continue to rally, but it looks like most people make most of their money when it actually pulls back enough, right? Pulls back enough that the recovery potential, offers an attractive number, right? Just like we saw before, old support, old resistance. We can see there that at least the trade could potentially be worth it, right? That's a 10% plus margin to work with. As of right now, what's your upside potential versus your downside risk? As of right now, I think it's too overbought for my taste. It is extremely bullish, so that's something that you at least have in your favor. But if you are trying to stay patient, if you're trying to be more selective and try to look for a more ideal entry, then again, anything closer to the moving average would probably be the time that I would like to follow up with something like this. So what's up? What's going on, Adam? Such a throwback. What's going on, James? What's up? What's up? All right, let's see. What is the next stock that you guys would like me to break down? So let's go ahead and talk about Google real quick. So Google, based off of recent patterns, is actually doing something that it hasn't done, just like most of the market, right? Most of tech, we're actually beginning to break above the moving average on the day chart, right? You can see that we're testing that same old resistance, but again, it is very critical. If the NASDAQ market continues to make new highs, then yes, Google will most likely follow. But if the NASDAQ market, like QQQ, begins to retrace and pull on back, then Google will most likely follow. So please make sure that you are reminded of that you don't enter a hopeful position too early on thinking that it has to continue to make new highs, and then it actually ends up selling off, right? Definitely something that we can follow up with. I feel like something just bit my leg. Oh well. All right. So Google will most likely rally based off of AI news for the past few days. Okay. I think Google itself, at least for me, it's not necessarily a stock that I want to day trade. I think anytime that Google becomes, oversold, which means like undervalued, anything below $100 a share, I think is a great long-term play, right? If you have no intention of needing to make money off of this right away, my only concern with companies like Google, like Tesla, like Amazon, like Apple, and again, this is just my opinion, but anytime that those stocks rally, right? So like if we look at something like Apple's nearly back at previous highs, but Apple's like a really good company, right? So let's use something like Tesla, where there's still some concern of like, hey, is Tesla worth what it's valued at? My concern with Tesla is that it came from lows of $100. Right now it's trading at $185. At one point it was trading at $215. It went from $100 to $200 a share in 1 month. And this is where it concerns me, because people think that after a 100% return that it is going to continue to rally, right? But they don't take into consideration, well, what if things do get worse? Now people are buying at $200 and they have the possibility of, writing it back down to $150 or back to $100. Not that there's anything wrong with buying Tesla long-term at $180. I'm just saying very early on, I hope you have proper intentions in place where when anything, Google included, when anything rallies as quickly as a lot of these tech companies do, you just have to always take into consideration that downside risk. And this is where position size management comes into consideration. So, yo, bro, the size chart on the TechBud side doesn't work. I'm wondering what size hoodie you wear. So I personally wear an extra large, but a large fits me. So I'm 6'4". I'm a pretty thin built guy, but I hate short anything, right? So I don't like short tees. I don't like short hoodies. So when it comes down to all of the t-shirts, I mean, the smallest size, if you are at least 6 feet, I would say that you should be getting a large. I just don't see how you would fit in a medium if you're above 6 feet, right? But I think they go up to 2X or 3XL when it comes down to the tees and all the stuff that we have on the site. But for the hoodies itself, I would say that if you're thin and you're 6 feet, a large will be just fine. If you're a little bit huskier, then an extra large or a 2XL should do just fine. And again, friendly reminder, I do want to remind you guys, for everyone that picks up anything from our shop TechBud store, it's the 4th link in the description down below. And today, it does end at midnight tonight, but you get a free GTR tee with every order. So every order today, just add a basic GTR tee. So it would be something like this one. You can add the GTR Moon tee. It's probably one of my favorite shirts. So you can add this one to your order. So let's say that you're buying like a mouse pad or a couple different things. Just add your favorite GTR basic tee, and you'll get it for free at checkout. There's no coupon code that is needed, nothing like that. It will apply automatically, but you do have to add it to your order, and it should apply automatically at checkout. So just a little heads up on that. And again, that's at shoptechbuds.com. So thank you, bro. I'm 5'7", and I'm of heavier build. Yeah, I would say that, I mean, an extra large should be just fine. So, and if not, if it doesn't fit you, okay, and you try on the extra large and you're like, hey, it's too small or it's too big, then just let me know and I'll send you another one. Okay. All right. What else are we going to break down? Let's do one more. Ricky, tell the truth. Without heels, how tall are you? I love that. Oh, man, that is too good. All right, BAC. Yeah, I do feel like we do have to break down BAC, especially as Bank of America is going to be reporting earnings. But I mean, Bank of America already had a pretty decent rally last week because of what was going on with JP Morgan, right? We could see the nice little run up on Bank of America. Again, for those that are unaware, Bank of America is going to be reporting earnings on the 18th of April, which is in just 2 days. It's going to be on Tuesday, and it's before the market opens. So it's already factoring in a positive earnings. Obviously, if Bank of America earnings does not come in as good as expected, then it will drop. If it comes in better than expected, then it will rise. Bank of America overall is still pretty oversold based off of its recent sell-off because of what's been going on with the banking system. But nonetheless, again, if you look at this on the overall day chart, long term, I mean, it is still pretty cheap. So if you are a true believer in thinking that Bank of America, just like other banking institutions, are going to be just fine, then yeah, it could be a very lucrative time to be invested. If you think that things are going to get worse before they get better, then stay patient, right? As of right now, it's still trading below EMA. It's still trading below the moving average. Every indicator on the technical side is still pointing that, it's too early to buy this right now. But nonetheless, if you can tolerate the risk, then it could be something that can be pretty lucrative. So I wish. No. Did you forget to cover NVIDIA? No, I broke down NVIDIA a little bit earlier today, right? So we broke down AMD, and then I used NVIDIA as an example. So NVIDIA overall, when looking at this on the 4-hour time frame, very bullish, consistently making higher highs and higher lows. But NVIDIA is also a company that's been doing extremely well based off of its recent performance. So my concern with this is, it's not that I don't believe in NVIDIA. It's that it's so overbought that if you start getting in here, and then the market does begin to retrace back, that you are going to put yourself in some hot water. So if you are excellent at managing risk and managing your position size, then you should be just fine, right? Because you should be able to identify a break-if pattern of when it actually happens, right? So on the day chart, if this thing breaks below the EMA, I'm out. Very easy. But not everyone's like that, right? Some people will buy here, think that it's going to continue to make new highs, market begins to sell off, and then bag hold it all the way back down. Imagine buying at 260 and owning it at $110 a share. Not very exciting, right? So again, just know yourself enough that there's levels to this, right? There's stages to this, and there's nothing wrong with accepting that you are a beginner, because the whole purpose of this is we all start as beginners, but don't put yourself in a position in which you cannot tolerate. So something that I'm very excited to follow up. But yes, I think NVIDIA is very lucrative. It's very bullish, but it's also very overbought, and that comes as a huge form of risk. So let's not be afraid to talk about it. Rates going up again. We will see, right? The next Fed meeting for the next interest rate hike. I told my LPP team about it. It's going to be on May 3rd, right? So May 3rd, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And I will be live streaming it on this channel. So just make sure that you guys subscribe. But again, I don't want to take too much of your guys' time. I understand that today's Sunday. I'm going to see you all that are part of LPP tomorrow at Market Open for our live trading session. I'd love for you to get a taste of what it's like to watch me trade live. For those that are unaware or are not part of our team already, this is my Learn, Plan, Profit team. I work with them every single day. They get to watch me trade live every single day. And if you want to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow, it's the second link in the description down below if you want to learn more about it. Other than that, I appreciate your time. Hope that earned a thumbs up. Again, you also get entered 5,000 times for every new member that signs up for LPP 2.0. And if you want to learn more about that, that's that second link in the description down below. For those that haven't entered and want to, pick up some of your favorite items, for every $1 that you spend, it equals 5 automatic entries at shoptechbuds.com or the fourth link in the description down below. I appreciate your time. Hope that earned a thumbs up. I will see you tomorrow at Market Open for our live session. And like always, let's make sure that we end the